Adulting can be really hard, even without money stress, right? Have you ever wondered, where is my money even going? If so, this video is right for you. I'm going to walk you through the simplest way to sit down and take a snapshot of your current finances to be able to build a plan that actually works for you. Not a finance bro spreadsheet, not the 8,007th person telling you to stop buying your daily coffees, but really what works for you. So what's first? The first thing we need to do is take a snapshot of what's going on with your money. So we're going to write down 3 things. 1, what's your income? And I mean not what's your assumed income, what's about how much you make. I want you to actually go and see what is hitting your account after taxes in your payroll. So pull up your bank account online and look up what's actually hitting your bank account. Now, for those who earn a salary, I think it's fine to just go ahead and pull that monthly income. For those who do have kind of a more varied income that work off of events or tips or overtime, then I suggest taking a 90-day kind of snapshot and taking the average of those to get a monthly income. Now, the second thing I want you to write down while you're in there looking at your bank account is your expenses. So what's actually coming out of your bank? So this could be anything from your rent to subscriptions to utilities to those miscellaneous nights out. And again, we're not looking for a classification here. We're not looking for how much your overall spending is that is necessary and how much is not. We're not doing that assessment at this point. We just purely want, what are we spending? Because this is going to give you, what have you made? What is our income? And what am I spending? Where's my wiggle room and where's the gap? Again, we're just doing a snapshot, guys. We're not solving all the world's money problems. And if you don't love going and doing this yourself, there are a lot of apps that will do this for you. So you can use YNAB or Mint. Those are some of the common ones you can use. And it's an app that you basically just give access to all of your bank accounts, and it will summarize for you what's your income and what's your expenses. So if you're looking for kind of a quick route on that, I suggest Mint. So now you should have 3 things written out: your income, your expenses, and what your debt looks like. Now you have the basics. So think of this as your money selfie, right? This is the overall view of what's going on with your finances. Now, I can tell you 8,007 ways to go improve this for your life. But the next step is really, you need to go assess the money selfie in terms of what matters to you. So how do we do this? So I want you to first calculate the difference between your income and your expenses, right? Hopefully this is in the positive, even if minimally. If it's not in the positive, again, that's why we're here today. First step is assessing where we're at. This is currently how much you're saving each month. And when you look most places, they say you should be saving at least 20%. But I like to think of this in a different way. I think the 20% is not about saving. The 20% is about investing in future you, right? So don't just save it in a bank account where it's actually losing money and worth. Instead, it's, I don't need 20% savings. I need 20% that's going towards future me, which could be paying off your debt. It could be investing in yourself. It could be starting a side hustle. Now, we've all heard the breakdowns that they suggest for how much should be spent each month on needs, wants, and savings. So I'll leave that up to you as if you want to change your targets a little bit. If you have a priority to save more money, to get towards financial freedom, to pay off your debt, whatever your goal may be, set that for you. So maybe 20% isn't what you need to be saving. Maybe you want to save only 5% each month because you have an emergency fund and you want to pay off all your debt. If that's what's right for you, I suggest you start with a goal. So make a specific and smart goal that gets very clear on how you want to do it and why you want to do it. So maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 10%. Again, maybe it's 40%. I want to save 40%, but I'm not saving it. I'm investing it in me, which is paying off high interest debt. So start with what is your priority and what is your goal. So of the priorities, again, I mentioned a few of them. It could be paying off debt. It could be building an emergency fund. It could be saving for something big, right? A new car, a house, a big trip to Europe. But pick your priorities. And again, you can't have all of them. You can't say, I want to save for my wedding, a house, a trip to Europe. I have no emergency fund and I've got $12,000 on my credit card. Okay. If you go after everything and everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So pick 1 to 2 priorities for your monetary situation and let's set that as the goal. So now we're at the point where you have an assessment of where are your finances and what do you want? What is the goal for your finances? And now we got to make a plan. So again, this comes back to, I can tell you what the blueprint is, but my blueprint that's worked for me may not work for you. You again have to go assess yourself and determine, how do I want to do this? Because for some, you can say, if I see the money, I'm going to want to spend it. So the best tip for me is I need to automate it. So I want to put into my retirement savings immediately from my paycheck so that I never see it. I want to set up an automatic bill pay so that I never have to go in and assess where my money is at. I send the bills out automatically. Do the same for your savings, in which you say, hey, every month I'm going to take that 20% that I want to save and I'm going to move it over to a separate savings account with high interest so that it can save for whatever travel, wedding, house payment that you're wanting to save for. So if you fall in the camp of wanting to spend the money when you make it, then make it automated. That's the easiest way for you, but that may not work for everyone. So what are some of my other tips? So some key things that have worked for me when I'm doing my assessment is, again, you've decided what your priorities are, right? Go through your expenses, go through your income, and go make the assessment that makes sense for your life. Maybe cutting the $6 coffees out are not a problem for you. Maybe you can say, I'm going to invest in a coffee maker for $25 and I'm going to make my own coffee. And I don't mind that because I don't really care about the taste of the coffee. I just need some caffeine. If that's you, great. But if you live for it and you love being able to socialize with the barista and you like trying different coffees and you just love your Starbucks, if taking that away from you for $6 a day is something that you see as a detriment to your life and not the priority, then don't cut it out. But you need to go through them and say, with a clear head, what matters to me? Does saving money matter more to me than that coffee every day? Or is there a way that I can get the same thing out of it without this being kind of a cutback in my life in which I can still achieve the same goal? If so, great. So for me, I did this in a few different ways. I didn't cut out the coffee. Your girl still drinks her coffee every day. But what she does do is she doesn't eat out very much. She doesn't DoorDash. So I invest in meal prep and meal planning to where every week I sit down and say, here's what my meals are going to be, so that when I get to the end of the week, I don't have a lot of food waste and I really didn't overspend at the grocery store and I didn't eat out a lot because I said, oh shoot, I've got to go home and make this because I've got pork chops that were thawed and they need to be made, right? But that's because I know that I care about what I eat. I want to eat healthy. I want to eat well. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. My priority is healthy eating on a budget. And I can do that by planning. So I've invested more time into my planning to be able to kind of get a return on my savings for that. If you can do the same with coffee by getting cheap coffee that you made in your coffee maker, do it. That's my suggestion. But decide where your priority is. If your priority is in the coffee, get your coffee. It makes you happy. So again, sit down and look at where in your life it makes sense to make the cuts to put that towards savings. So that could be downgrading the size of your home. It could be, keeping your 10-year-old car for a little bit longer so that you don't have to take on another car payment. It could be getting a roommate. Adulting doesn't have to mean you need a finance degree, and it also doesn't mean you have to give up the comforts and the nice things that you enjoy in your life to be able to start saving. You just need to know where you're at and be 100% clear in your life, what your priorities are and what matters to you. That's when you start realizing where you can make money. That's where you start realizing where you can save money. Maybe it is subscriptions. Maybe you do have HBO and Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and Paramount Plus add-on and all those things that you can just easily go delete. Maybe that's it, right? But maybe it's not as simple, and it's because you're not being honest with yourself. And so you're paying for that gym membership that you don't use. Are you going to use it? Then you need to set the goal to say, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. Then that is your goal, not saving money. So if saving money is your goal, determine where it falls in terms of all of your expenses and priorities. Do you need that big of a house? Do you mind having a roommate? Do you want to invest a little bit more in meal planning? Or do you want to be able to go out with your friends more? You have to decide where the cuts make sense. So I hope this was helpful. This really was just a plan to get you guys to go assess, where is my income, what are my expenses, and how do I really look at it in a lens that makes sense to me? I can tell you how I've saved money. I can tell you how I've gotten to where I am financially. But that might not be for you. So you don't need a finance degree, and you don't need me telling you how to go do it. I'm going to tell you, get all the details that hopefully you've already written down from throughout this video, and then go decide what your priorities are and what you're willing to change to go get it. Now, if you found this helpful, of course, hit like and subscribe and drop a comment with kind of your money goal for the year, and let's get after it.